Okay, hello world. I have decided to do some vlogging, um, and I'm brand new to this, so this is going to be very awkward. But basically, 2020, pretty mad year. My brain is like full of stuff, and I need to get it out. I just wanted to start talking about it, and I'm just going to go through this. This list on the screen is just a list so far that I've got of things in my head that I want to talk about. And so I'm not going to talk all about this today. I'm just going to go through the list, and then over the next couple of weeks, months, maybe, hopefully, I'm going to start going through all of this. But there's just so much going on, and I've got lots of things I want to talk about. So I thought I would just start vlogging and getting it out of my head. I'm not going to be particularly great at this, I don't think, but I decided to give it a try. There's something I read once about perfectionism, and there was a class of students in a kind of clay pottery class, and the teacher split them in two, and half the class, he said, they're going to be graded on quantity. If they get like 50 pots done, they get an A, whereas the other half were going to be graded on quality. If they do one pot, but it has to be really good to get an A. And the moral of the story is, what ended up happening is the people that did the quantity, 50 pots, theirs ended up being the best pots quality wise. I don't know whether it's true or not, it's just a story, but the point is that you learn by making your mistakes. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I just thought I'd do some videos, because I feel like the world is speeding up, and I need faster mechanisms to get my thoughts and opinions out of my head. And if I just try and wait for ages to make this perfect thing and spend months and years on one thing, it's just never going to happen. So I'm just going to start ranting. I'm going to try and limit my waffle as much as I can. And we will see. Yeah, we'll see. We might improve. Anyway, so I'm just going to try and have a big mind dump of all the things that I wanted to talk about. I probably won't talk about them in this order. These are just the top things I've been thinking I'd like to do a talk about. I should do them in this order, or some kind of order like this, but I won't. Anyway, the first one, God's existence. I believe in God. I believe, basically, throughout most of my 20s, I tried to answer this question of God's existence, and I spent a good decade looking into all of the arguments. It's 8 years ago now, and so I'm a bit rusty on it, and I should have done a video back then, really. But I would like to do a video to explain why I believe God exists. And it's basically the cosmological, teleological, particularly the fine-tuning argument, and the moral argument for God's existence, plus the prophecies in the Bible, I think, are actually not too bad, and my own experiential evidence. Those 5 are my pillars. I know there's loads of arguments back and forth, and I want to do a video about that, going into that. That's one of my videos I might do at some point. Second video, God is good. I had some thoughts about this, and I kind of got to a point where I felt like you could actually prove that God is good. I think you might be able to. Again, I want to double check that and make a video, but there's something about the nature of goodness which is similar to light and darkness, good and evil. Evil and good are not opposites. Evil is like the absence of goodness, as darkness is the absence of light. You can't shine darkness into light. You can shine light into darkness, but you can't shine darkness into light. Darkness is the absence of light, and evil is the absence of good. And I find that pattern a lot. And I think there's lots of other arguments I can go into, but I think you can prove that God is good. I had some thoughts about it. But even if you can't, there's this kind of like always look on the bright side of life mentality that seems to kind of make logical sense. I'll get into that at some point. My epistemological method. Nowadays I wanted to talk about that because nowadays it's really hard to find the truth about things, and I wanted to explain my method is basically playing the odds. Because I'm not sure there's many things you can know for shizzle, but there are some things that you can know with greater certainty than others, and it's a matter of, you know, ranking things by how certain you are versus how uncertain you are. And, you know, the things that you're pretty certain about, you can maybe bank on that a bit more. But anyway, that's my epistemological method. I was also possibly going to talk about, I mean, bias down here. This, something that's been really confusing me lately. It's been like, because I want to talk about politics, and it's really hard to talk about politics. And one of the things that's hard about it is that there's all these people on this planet, and some people have really strong views on one side, and some people have really strong views on the other. And I don't want to slag people off if I'm on the different side to them, but it's really difficult when you have so if I lean on one side, I'm looking at the other and I'm thinking, you know, they're wrong and they're brainwashed or something, or they're totally wrong. But anything I'm thinking about them, they're thinking the same about me. They think I'm deluded, I'm brainwashed, and I think they're brainwashed and deluded. And I find that very gaslighting, and I'm going to get into that at some point. And bias, and trying to see past your own biases, because there's this feeling sometimes of like, it's almost as though you feel like you've got two groups. One group thinks 2 + 2 = 4. Another group thinks 2 + 2 = 5. And trying to find the middle ground between these two groups, it's like you're saying, well, why don't we call it 4.5? And then you can't do that. You know, if you think 2 + 2 = 4, you have to stick with it. But they think 2 + 2 = 4, and they think you think whatever. So I want to get into that a little bit, because that's a confusing part of it. Gratitude, very central to my life. I might make a video about that. Big gratitude list, maybe. Universalism. I spent in my 30s. After I figured out that God existed, I started getting into the nature of God, and I came across universalism, which is basically Christian universalism. The idea that everybody goes to heaven in the end, kind of. In the end, it doesn't mean that hell doesn't exist. I don't know. I'm going to get into that. When I first came across it, I thought it was kind of wishful thinking, but then I started to find that actually the evidence is more leaning towards that than the hell doctrine. I just came across, and I'm not like 100% about that one. I just lean that way more than the hell doctrine or the annihilation doctrine. I just lean that way more, but I'm not 100%. But anyway, that's really good news though, universalism. If that's true, I mean, that was a massive revelation for me. I need to fly through these. Freedom, altruism, capitalism and socialism. Actually, I'm not going to fly through them. I'm just going to take my time, because I don't think anybody's even going to watch these videos. And if you do, you can just skip past if you get bored. I don't care. I'm making these videos for me, I think, more. Just to get all this crap inside of me out of me. I want to talk about it all. So, freedom, altruism, capitalism and socialism. So I just wanted to do a talk. This might be my next one I do, actually. I wanted to talk about freedom and why it's important. I've got lots and lots of thoughts about freedom, and I feel like it's really important to a lot of the things that are going on today. You know, make things becoming mandatory versus voluntary, the difference in capitalism and socialism, you know, forced. I think there's forces involved. I want to get into it all. There's a lot to talk about. There's distinctions between utilitarianism and deontology that I feel is like matches that kind of freedom force dichotomy or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a dichotomy, but and positive and negative rights, it's the same pattern there. Love requiring free will, the importance of free will. Otherwise, I've got loads of thoughts about that. I'm going to do a video, maybe in my next one I'll get into that. And then altruism and the drowning child. So the drowning child was another problem I had for, pardon me, donkey's years. Like late 20s into, like, I still, last few years I feel like I've made a bit of peace with it. The drowning child, I was going to down here I was going to talk about black pills. Drowning child is one of my black pills, because I really got stuck with it. If you don't know about it, well, you can Google it, or I'm going to make a video about it. And I got into Ayn Rand, and I have some thoughts about that. I have solutions. I think I have a kind of form of Christian altruism, and it's not quite as extreme as Ayn Rand, but I do like Ayn Rand. It's a little more, I don't think, I'm a little bit, I don't know, I'll make a video about it. Equality does not equal freedom. This is a thought that I didn't really flesh out, so I need to double check, go back into it. But I just seem to remember having a thought about this, where equality and freedom kind of contradict each other. You can't have it because equality doesn't exist in nature, and therefore wherever you want to have equality, it requires force to flatten and make things equal. And I had loads of thoughts about that. I'll make a video about that at some point. Celibacy, that could be an embarrassing video, but I am celibate, and I've decided to be permanently celibate, like a nut job. And I want to explain why, so that people don't think I'm a nut job, because I think once I explain why, I think a lot of other people might think, oh, sounds like a good choice. But there's lots of things I want to say about that. Coronavirus, that's another video I want to do soon. Loads of thoughts about that. Firstly, is it bioengineered? I think it is. And I'm like plus 90% sure it is from all the evidence I've seen, and I'm going to lay out that evidence in a video. And the other question is the question of, have we overreacted or underreacted in general? And I lean generally, I think we've overreacted, but again, that's another political, difficult one. I don't want to offend anybody, and it's tricky. And I think there's lots and lots of data to go through, and it's quite tricky to get your head around all of it. And I want to explore all of that, so I'm going to do a video about that. US politics has been very interesting. Was there fraud in the election? Again, I think yeah. But then that's another controversial one. People that think no. I mean, oh, hang on, I'm not allowed to say that, am I? Oh, well, YouTube might ban me, because I should do another video. I haven't added this here, but censorship is another one that's been bothering me. But I might make a video about, is there fraud, and just lay out the evidence and then let you decide, maybe. I think there's a lot of evidence. So, and then what was the other thing? Oh, and then the Capitol Hill riots. I've got some things to say about that. Yeah, I'll leave all of that stuff for another video, because I want to try to be. It's very difficult. I don't want to offend people. I don't want to slag the left off. I do lean right lately, but I don't consider myself. I need to get into it. The Black Lives Matter riots, again, that kind of links in with the Capitol Hill riots, and then race. This is probably the conversation, the video I'm slightly nervous about making. I have opinions about this, and I really want to make a video because my opinions about it seem very uncontroversial in my mind. My opinions on race seem very, very obvious and simple and uncontroversial, but the way people react to other people who have my opinions seems to be like, whoa, well, I don't know why they react so strongly. But some people, it's a very hot topic, so I'm gonna have to go careful with that one. But I have some opinions I want to say about that. Yeah, tyranny, encroaching tyranny in the world, and how to respond to it. I don't know. Sometimes I have thoughts about that. I might make a video about that. Trust. The fact that I feel like I've lost trust in like everything nowadays. The media, government, corporations, the science establishment. I feel like I've come across so many times when I've seen people lying, groups lying, authorities lying, that it's just my trust is eroding and everything. And so I want to kind of make a video about that. Kind of linked in with epistemology, how to know what's true, how to find out what's true. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin. I might make a video about that. There's I'm very new to economy. By the way, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. This is just me, a random human being, just wanting to vent my thoughts. Like, you know how people write like Bob was here on toilet stool walls and doors. This is like my equivalent. I just want to get my thoughts out. So gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So yeah, so I've been getting into economics a little bit recently, and had some thoughts about that. Might do that. Prepping. I've been prepping a little bit. I don't know whether I'll make a video about that, but that's something new I've been doing recently. Started growing some veggies, doing all sorts. Transhumanism. That's a big one. Well, no, so transhumanism I just think is potentially a very big question that we may humanity may need to answer in the coming years, which is basically the question of, do you want to be a pure human, or do you want to embrace the technological cyborg revolution that is coming and become like a superhuman and enhance yourself? What do you want to do? Because I think there's going to be a huge shift in society over the next 10, 20 years, maybe 30. And the people who choose to enhance themselves are going to have a huge advantage potentially. And the people that don't and want to remain pure could become second-class citizens if we're not careful. And that's going to be a very difficult decision to make. And I'm already feeling it today in society. Certain decisions, if you don't keep up with the latest technologies, you kind of get left behind. You kind of have to keep up with it, or you get left behind and shut out of society. And it's happening already. And that's a big question. That I might look into that. And I'm not against enhancing either. I don't know what the answer is, but I just want to look into it. Black pills. This is something I've been wanting to kind of get off my chest. I'm up to about 4. I've come up to black pills. These are ideas that are so bleak that it makes me worried to actually tell somebody else, because I don't want to bum them out. So I might have to put like a warning at the start of the video to warn people about that. The drowning child was one of them. Now I think I found answers for the drowning child, so that's good. But another one is AI. Again, I'm not going to get into them now, so hopefully won't be blackpilling you now, because I'm not going to tell you the parts that blackpilled me. But there's some aspects about AI that I started looking into, and I thought, oh, yeah, we're all screwed. So AI was one. Free will was another. And again, at the moment, I kind of have answers for it, but the possibility that free will might be kind of an illusion, doesn't really exist. That was quite blackpilling for me. For a while, I got really stuck thinking about that. But I think I might have an answer for that. My current answer is to just not think about it, which is not really an answer at all. So free will, and then what was the other one? Actually, I've got some notes here. What did I write? Oh yeah, and then the other one was hell. And I had some thoughts about that. There was a certain way of thinking about it that trapped me. And hell. Yeah, so I might make some video about that. But again, that one, did I get around that? I must have done. Maybe again I've just stopped thinking about it. Whatever. Bias I talked about before. I might get into that. White privilege I've got some thoughts about. That's another really controversial one. But again, my feelings and thoughts about that are very uncontroversial, and I think I'm right, and I'm going to make a video about it, and I'm going to explain to the world why I'm right about everything. Yeah, I'm going to make a video about that, but we'll see. It'll probably be controversial. Overpopulation is... I don't know why I've put that to the list, because I don't know much about it. It's just something I've been thinking about recently. And it just seemed like an interesting topic to explore. But I haven't actually been thinking about that. And climate change, again, I had thoughts, but I haven't thought about this recently, but I had some thoughts about that. Controversial. Again, my feelings is you got, when you're trying to learn about a topic, you have one of my methods is to go to people from every extreme on a topic, and what you sometimes find with people on one side and people on another is that there are points of agreement, and when you find points of agreement amongst all the people on all the extremes, then you can kind of sense, oh well, that's probably true. If even two extremes agree on things, then that's probably true. And with the climate change, I find that that's generally the case. I mean, I know there are some people who literally deny the whole thing and think it's a hoax, so maybe they don't agree. But most people, the debate is between the climate change alarmists, that's, a loaded word, choose your own word, alarmists, or climate change skeptics. But basically, some people think they all agree that the climate is changing, and that human beings are having some kind of effect, and it is something to be concerned about. Like, everybody seems to agree with that. The point is, how much should we be concerned about it, and how much of an impact humans are having, and what is the best way to deal with it? That's the debate, I think. It seems to me. And it's a kind of over exaggeration, under exaggeration question. And on that one, I tend to lean along more skeptical, I'm afraid. But then I want to have another look into it. I'm not super sure. Anyway, and then what I might just do is just do videos whenever I feel like I've got something to say. I might just say it. So, sorry if this video's been crap. This is my first one. I don't expect anybody's going to listen to this, and I should probably just wrap it up now. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to rant, and we're going to see how it goes. Okay, bye bye.